through your freedom.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
It's all business today, folks. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Looks like a little bell. That bell will tell you when new videos come up, live broadcasts, emergency information, everything we do. Hit that notification bell and then also share this video. I know if you're on Patreon, you've done everything you can and you're supporting us. And thank you for being here on Patreon. For you YouTubers, you got a job as well. We all do. And that's spread the word to get prepared. Shit's going down, folks. And this video, I want to lay it out. Scandals and SHTF. So share the video and help everyone else so that you don't get bugged by them. You don't want them knocking on your door saying, hey, man, it's hit the fan. We know you got food. Tell them to get their own food. Tell them to get their own guns. Tell them to wake the hell up. All right, folks. Scandals. When I was a young boy, President Nixon, that's a long time ago, wasn't it? President Nixon was exposed for having political scandal. He had some of his operatives, or someone in his administration got some operatives to break into the Democrat headquarters at the Watergate Hotel and try and steal some information. Since then, folks, we've had the Clintons. Scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal. Whitewater, the death of Vince Foster, the multiple dozens of Arkancides, not to mention Bill and his sexual predatory scandals, and the Monica Lewinsky under the White House desk, of course. Scandal, scandal, scandal. Oh, well, let's just forget about that, right? Let's move on. Right? Scandals. Where are we at today? You skip ahead another 20 plus years. Where are we at today with scandals? Has there ever been a more scandalous time? Looking at this pandemic, the CDC, looking at the government, looking at corporations, businesses, big tech, all working in unison. To what? To control us. But folks, what are we catching them at? Incredible scandals. The Bidens tied to China and money and laundering. Hunter Biden, idiot galore, tied to sex, drugs, not rock and roll, but big business dealings, buyouts, bribes, etc. Hey, it's just a conspiracy theory. Oh, wait, no. Apparently there's some facts there, right? Scandal after scandal after scandal. Hillary Clinton caught with sensitive servers with CIA documentation on it. In her basement, no arrest. Scandal. Jeffrey Epstein tied to child sex, underage women, bringing in royalty from England. Big business, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton wearing a dress and red shoes. Scandal after scandal after scandal. Sex and more sex. The Nexium sex stuff, the Hunter Biden sex stuff, right? Jizzy Maxwell is still out there, still breathing air, even though Epstein's other buddy, his French pimp de jour, he ended up Arkanciding himself, right? Yeah, right. Scandal after scandal after scandal. Pizzagate, right? Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama wanting to bring pizza and hot dogs to Washington. Code words for chitlins. Bring them kids on in. We're going to have ourselves a party. Now, Madison Cawthorn, congressman, comes out and says, I was invited and saw orgies and politicians snorting coke. Scandals, folks. Where's the mainstream media? Covering it up. Oh, CNN, they've been firing their people for what? Sexual scandals, including the brother of Governor, right? Chris Cumho on CNN, sex abuse scandals. Oh, his big brother resigned as governor of New York. Governor Cuomo, sex scandals. Folks, I'm all good for a big balls deep party with your old lady. If that's your thing, I'm all for that. But the scandal side, the disgusting side, the dirty side, the abuse of it, and also, folks, and do not forget, and I haven't, what they're doing to children across the entire country with this entire gender bending. I don't know what I am. Rainbow, ridiculous whitewashing of the entire sick industry of depraved, hedonistic shit. And if you want to be a hedonist, fine, but don't pretend like you're moral and decent in front of the rest of the world. Hey, if you're going to be a hedonist, be a hedonist. But don't do it to children. No, sir. Don't be going into kindergarten and first and second and third grade. Hell, I don't even think you should be teaching any of this shit till college, right? When I was growing up, there weren't all these problems. I wonder why. Could it be that teachers weren't teaching them? Yeah, that's totally normal. Go ahead and put that banana where the sun don't shine. Now you're normal. Wrong. Folks, scandal and sex. Money theft. Look at Ukraine. We know this is about money. It's all about money and power. Literally energy, oil, gas, uranium. It's all about money and power. Big corporations trying to destroy everything. The scandal is so huge that the media, one, doesn't cover it. The scandal is so huge it involves everyone that we're so busy watching the whole system smoldering, waiting to go up in flames, that no one can say a word, right? If Coke points at Pepsi, Pepsi points at Coke and goes, hey, right? Pizza Hut versus Domino's, Republicans versus Democrats. Where does it end, folks? Here's where I say it ends. It ends in another false flag, great reset, destroy everything known as scorched earth. We, the people, aren't allowed to know what's really going on. We're not allowed to see how evil these people are. It is incredible. Interestingly, Putin is standing up to them. Folks, not mysterious at all. China is opposing the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset in Western governments. I expected that. Putin, that was kind of an interesting surprise with Ukraine. I guess there are a couple of decent people out there who aren't willing to sell their souls for a good time and a little bit of green. Maybe there's something better than green. Maybe it's gold. Anyways, there's so much coming out, folks. And guess what? Filmmaker David Tice, he produced a documentary film, right? Looking at cyber attack. Grid down, power up. This filmmaker, right, has come out and did an interview. He said, we are in an incredibly vulnerable position. We're in an incredibly vulnerable position. He says, we have 4 big adversaries: China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran. I would argue with him. China, Russia, Iran, yeah. But the 4th, not North Korea. The 4th is our own intelligence services. He says, all of them have talked about the fact that they could potentially bring down our power grid and therefore affect U.S. civilians. Folks, who was affected by 9/11? U.S. civilians. Who paid the price for 9/11? U.S. civilians. And the world, of course. Who benefited from 9/11, folks? Who benefited? Key bono. Who got the money? Who got the power? Big government. Our grid and our banking system are both incredibly vulnerable, and they continue to talk about false flags, cyber attacks, and they don't like our freedoms and liberties, folks. They've destroyed our economy. They've destroyed so much. That's right. Now, this is Joe Biden. President Joe Biden, dumbass Joe, came out and said, today my administration is reiterating those warnings based on evolving intelligence that the Russian government is exploring options for potential cyber attack. He said that March 21st. Right? And then he added that, electric companies, the grid operators, these private companies need to prevent these types of attack. He says, my administration will continue to use every tool to deter, disrupt, and if necessary, respond to cyber attacks against critical infrastructure. And he says, but the federal government can't defend against this threat alone. Wait a minute, didn't international cyber attack take over our oil, literal fuel pipeline running from Texas up into the Northeast? And he said, no, it's a private matter. Now, of course, the jackass is saying, what? Oh, yeah, my administration. Ultimately, folks, I think that our own, shall we say, secret government operatives, whoever they are, whatever name they want to go by, they're just as dangerous, if not more so, than Russia and China and Iran. But yeah, Russia, do they have reason to bring down portions of our grid? Folks, here's the deal. I don't think Putin wants to take out the West Coast or the East Coast or the North or the South or anything else. I think he wants to disrupt Washington, D.C. I think he would like to disrupt federal government communications and power. Same with China. China and Russia, I don't think want to hurt us, the people. They know who their opponents are. Their adversaries are up in D.C. Right? The same way you and I, we go, China's the enemy. And no. It's the form of government they have. Their government is an opponent or adversary of us as people, a free people. If we're not a free people, what the hell are we? We're slaves and servants. Slaves and servants to these people. Russia, are the people free, or are they slaves and servants to Russia? Same with Europe. Are we slaves and servants, or are we free people? Right? Other governments don't really do anything but they would, folks, I guess, put the hurt on maybe New England, put the hurt on the Great Lakes, areas and means of production, finance, New York City, take them out. Now the rest of the country will scream for protection. And a percentage of them will scream to go to war. Really? That's what we want to do? Go to war with Russia and China? Okay, World War III it is. Any way you look at it, though, folks, if they bring the grid down, if they bring the banking system down, like I've been talking about it for a few minutes now, did you forget about all that scandal that I mentioned in the beginning? Yes, you did. It's so easy to forget about the scandals, the theft, the corruption, and the perversion that is our federal government in Washington, D.C., our state governments, and even our local governments and officials, all the way down to the school board that want to teach your children where bananas go. How it's okay to mutilate yourself, to deny who you are as a human being, to hate yourself for being what you are. If you're a boy, you should hate yourself. If you're a girl, you should hate being a girl and want to be a boy, and then hate yourself for being a boy. So you may as well cut off your genitals and become a whatever you say you are. Poor children. The logic does not follow. Non sequitur after indoctrinating non sequitur in schools. Qui bono, folks, who benefits? There is so much scandal, corruption, perversion, and just filth in government as the system is coming down. My question to you is, are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Are you prepared, folks, for where they're taking us? They're telegraphing it. Years ago, right before I started doing this channel in 2013, they put out Grid Down America. What happens if the power goes out? How many days would it be before people are screaming, starving, hungry? Failure of government, people resorting to tribalism and taking the law into their own hands, right? They did that film, folks, 10 years ago. Here we are today. And here is Mr. Filmmaker again, David Tice, saying we're in an incredibly vulnerable position, and we always have been, and we never were not. Folks, it can be a cyber attack, it can be a tactical nuke, it can be espionage, it can be a false flag. Are you prepared? Is this fear porn? No, I don't have to use fear porn. I can use fact. This is what they've done, and this is what they're talking about. This is how corrupt they are, folks. The greatest scandals of all time are happening right now. Right? We aren't even allowed. I'm not even going into the election. I didn't even really talk about Cerveza Bug. The greatest scandals against all of humanity, the whole world at one time, happening right now. Do you think they want the facts to come out and the truth? That's a big rug to sweep all that shit under. Yeah, we can feel it and we can smell it. Are you prepared? Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. If you don't see this coming, right, you're not awake. If you're seeing it, if you're feeling it, if you're smelling it, you ought to know it's time to get prepared, because this turd can't be taken out with a little shovel, swept up and tossed into the bushes. No, sir. There's going to be hell to pay for all of the corruption and evil that's going on. And you need to decide where you stand on it, just as I do. We all do. Are we going to be prepared, or are we going to be victimized when they bring down the grid or bring down the banking system, as they ruin the food supplies, ruin our infrastructure, trying to punish us, to keep us distracted, to make us submissive to them, submit, and agree to become their servants? I'll pass. Thank you very much. Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Semper Fi means always faithful to what you know is right. What's in your soul and your mind, what's in your heart, your faith, always faithful.